While there are several videos on YouTube that analyze the beginning OCG and TCG sets of Yu-Gi-Oh!, this video will be an anime analysis of how The Legend of Blue Eyes impacted the anime. Yes, it's obvious that the anime inspired the trading card game, or rather, the manga inspired the OCG. I've been wanting to break down the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets as if the trading card game inspired the anime. Think of this video as a what if. After all, the anime characters have to get their cards from somewhere. I'm going to give the big disclaimer. I'm going mostly by my own memory here. I might miss some card appearances, especially when the cards are used in the virtual arcs. I'm not searching each card into Wiki Yu-Gi-Oh! To make this video a 100% accurate video. I'm mainly just going by my thoughts. Also, there's some instances where a character blatantly states that they acquired their card from a source other than a pack, like when Rex said that he got his red eyes by paying his life savings. Just feel free to correct me in the comments. So Legend of Blue Eyes is the first set released in the TCG. It contains 126 cards. It's full of weak vanilla monsters, low tier equipped cards, and weak field spells. This set screams, quote, "I used my last $5 to buy a pack and the cards aren't even good enough to improve my starter deck." That being said, almost every character has cards from this set. Yugi has the most. Yugi uses 21 cards from this set, all of which is either before Duelist Kingdom, during Duelist Kingdom, or in Battle City. The only card that's exclusively used in Battle City for Yugi is Pot of Greed. It's not used anywhere in Duelist Kingdom that I can find. And of the 22 foils in the set, Yugi's deck is home to 13 of them. Yugi's LOB cards that are used are Dark Magician, Guy the Fierce Knight, Celtic Guardian, Mammoth Graveyard, Silver Fang, Book of Secret Arts, Polymerization, Mystical Elf, Beaver Warrior, Curse of Dragon, Giant Soldier of Stone, Mystical Moon, Soldier of Villain Light, Monster Reborn, the 5 pieces of Exodium, and Guy the Dragon Champion. Slightly off topic, but when I open Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, I like to imagine that the foiled ones are foiled because they're good. 2 cards that I don't think deserve their rarity are Celtic Guardian and Mystical Elf. I know that Celtic Guardian is the strongest 4-star Earth warrior at this point, and Mystical Elf might have had an effect in the anime, but I would have rather seen other cards be foil in the set, like Urabi or Red Skullbird, since they are stronger cards than the before mentioned cards. Honestly, Celtic Guardian and Mystical Elf are probably shiny because Yugi used them. But the idea of this video is maybe perhaps Yugi used them because they were super rare. Now, I'll state which LOB cards were used by duelists other than Yugi. For the sake of simplicity, I'll exclude Pot of Greed, Polymerization, and Monster Reborn, since almost every duelist includes them in their decks, especially beyond Duelist Kingdom. Joey is a duelist who has plenty of cards from LOB. Flame Swordsman's by far the most popular. Others he uses around the time of Duelist Kingdom are Misaki the Legendary Swordsman, the Furious Sea King, M Warrior number 1, M Warrior number 2, Steel Ogre Grotto, Kagamusha the Blue Flame. 2 other LOB cards that Joey uses after Duelist Kingdom are in the Cyber World. They're Trap Hole and Dark Hole. I think that the anime wanted to avoid using too many of these hole cards because they were not holy. They were too destructive and powerful, and they would have changed a lot of the plots. 3 other LOB cards that are in Joey's deck during Battle City are Legendary Sword, Raigeki, and Himatama. The Raigeki and Himatama were only in Joey's deck for the duel against Yugi when Joey was possessed by Merrick. Kaiba only has 5 cards from the set: Blue Eyes, Hitatsumi Giant, Aqua Door, Stop Defense, and Dark Energy. Dark Energy isn't used by Kaiba in the anime. He actually uses Negative Energy Generator, but Dark Energy feels a lot like a Kaiba card. Well, since I've looked it up to see if he does use Dark Energy, he does in the manga, and like I said, I'm not really including cards used in the manga, but here I am reading about Kaiba's Death Tea deck now. Weevil has 2 cards, Basic Insect and Laser Cannon Armor. Rex only has 2 cards as well, Urabi and Red Eyes Black Dragon. Red Eyes Black Dragons eventually passed to Joey and then to Yugi and then back to Joey. The same card is passed around to 3 different duelist decks. The only other card to be passed around to more duelist decks was Obelisk the Tormentor. Bakura uses Maneater Bug, Panic uses Reaper of the Cards, Pegasus uses Dragon Capture Jar. Mai does not even use a card from LOB. But she does use Rose Whip, which the art looks the exact same, not the exact same, but very similar to Electro Whip. and Electro has an entirely different effect. It'd be cool if we got Rosewhip printed in real life. But back to the anime. Mako uses Umi in Battle City because he doesn't need to use Umi in Duelist Kingdom. Teo uses Petite Angel. Mokuba plays Maneater. Bandit Keith plays Machine Conversion Factory in the duel against Yugi just before Battle City. Let's see, Para from the Paradox Brothers uses Remove Trap, which is also used by Merrick. So, out of the last 8 or so duelists, they all only use one card from from LOB in their Duelist Kingdom deck. Some other sightings of LOB cards throughout the show are Joey dreams about his duel against the character in the red jacket. Yes, I used Wiki Yu-Gi-Oh! For this. That person summoned Metal Dragon. I'm guessing that he's the fusion materials from Metal Dragon as well. Noah uses Giant Soldier of Stone before he turns both of his brothers into regular Soldiers of Stone. My duel's against a duelist using Trihorn Dragon, and of note, the guy used Rush Recklessly to power up his monster. It was pretty cool use of a quick play spell. And then also in the Cyber Arcs, the monsters from LOB are used quite often. The most memorable one to me was when Woody Phantom was crucifying Kaiba. One interesting aspect of Duelist Kingdom, like I mentioned earlier with Mako, is how the field spells are used without being played. Since Duelist Kingdom is home to several different terrains, the player just duels on their preferred field to provide type-based power-ups for their monsters. Weagle duels in the forest, Rex duels on the wasteland, my duels in the mountains, Joey duels on the fields, Mako duels in the ocean, or Umi, and for Joey, Sogen with the fields, and then Panic duels in Yami, otherwise known as the Darkness. LOB is the biggest wealth gap of Yu-Gi-Oh! 2. There's not many vanilla monsters stronger than Blue Eyes White Dragon. Actually, there are none. And no set that I know of has more weak-ass vanilla monsters with only triple-digit attack points and defense points. They're super weak. Which, had to start somewhere. There's a special spot in my heart for LOB thanks to nostalgia that the anime provided, and I wouldn't remember a classic like Beaver Warrior without the anime. Lastly, you might have noticed that there are no mentions of monsters in the set that were played by Bandit Keith, Bones, or Paradox Brothers. Well, that's because Keith's monsters are made of metal, and all 4 duelists were found in a raided cave. I'll see you guys for the next video where we dissect the most diverse set in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Metal Raiders. Of note, I basically wanted to make this video series just so that way I could do Metal Raiders and Pharaoh's Servant. I'm very excited about Metal Raiders. Thank you guys for watching.